Welcome to Neo Nexus. Tonight, we bring you an urgent update on a rapidly developing situation that could have far-reaching consequences for the entire world. Subscribe and hit the bell icon for the latest updates. Our focus tonight is a volatile standoff in the South China Sea, where U.S. Navy warships are now patrolling dangerously close to a highly contested reef, raising the stakes in an already tense region. This deployment comes on the heels of a dangerous incident between Chinese and Philippine ships. A near collision that has only escalated the simmering tensions between these nations. The U.S. presence in these waters is a deliberate move, sending a strong and unmistakable message to both Beijing and Manila that America is watching and willing to act. The Scarborough Shoal, a seemingly insignificant ring of rocks and reefs, has become the epicenter of a major geopolitical storm, drawing in global powers and regional players alike. According to U.S. officials, their warships are there to ensure freedom of navigation, uphold international law, and show support for the Philippines, a key American ally in the region. But for China, this show of force is seen as a direct challenge to its territorial claims and a provocation that cannot be ignored. The dispute is about far more than just a few islands. It's a battle for control over some of the world's busiest shipping lanes and the vast, untapped oil and gas reserves hidden beneath the sea. Every year, trillions of dollars in global trade pass through these strategic waters, making stability here crucial for the world economy. Any conflict or prolonged standoff in this region could disrupt supply chains, send shockwaves through financial markets, and threaten the livelihoods of millions worldwide. The USS John Finn and USS Gabrielle Giffords are more than just symbols of American power. They're state-of-the-art warships equipped with advanced technology and firepower, signaling unwavering U.S. resolve. The situation remains extremely delicate. A single miscalculation or misunderstanding could quickly spiral into a much larger and more dangerous conflict. While diplomats scramble behind closed doors to find a peaceful solution, out on the water, the atmosphere is tense and unpredictable. Crews from all sides are on high alert, watching every move, knowing that the slightest error could have serious consequences. The U.S. is making it clear that it intends to reaffirm its power and commitment to its allies throughout the Indo-Pacific region. Now, the world holds its breath, waiting to see how China will respond to this bold and unprecedented move by the United States. Where is Scarborough Shoal, and why does it matter in the grand scheme of geopolitical affairs? It's a triangle-shaped chain of reefs located in the South China Sea, approximately 124 nautical miles from the Philippines and over 500 nautical miles from China. Its proximity to these nations makes it a focal point of regional interest. Despite the considerable distance from its mainland, China asserts historical sovereignty over the area, referring to it as Huangyan Dao, a name steeped in historical significance. The shoal consists mostly of submerged rocks and is uninhabited, yet its strategic location makes it highly significant in regional geopolitics. For the Philippines, it's not just a piece of land, it's a vital, fishing ground, where generations have relied on its rich waters for their livelihood and sustenance. Losing access to these waters has severely impacted coastal communities, disrupting their traditional way of life and economic stability. For China, controlling the shoal is crucial to its broader South China Sea strategy, forming a strategic triangle with other island holdings, enhancing its regional influence. Dominance in this area allows China to project military power, monitor naval activity, and assert its presence in the region. The lagoon at Scarborough Shoal could even serve as a potential naval base, further solidifying military capabilities. In 2016, an international tribunal ruled in favor of the Philippines, rejecting China's expansive claims, a decision that was celebrated by many. However, Beijing dismissed the ruling outright and has maintained control since a tense 2012 standoff, ignoring international pressure. This ongoing occupation and the resulting tensions are at the heart of the current geopolitical conflict, affecting regional stability. The U.S. warship deployment was triggered by a specific event. On October 4, 2025, a Philippine supply vessel delivering aid near Scarborough Shoal was intercepted by a Chinese Coast Guard ship. Reports say the Chinese vessel blocked the Philippine boat, escalating into a collision. Video released by Manila shows the Chinese ship cutting across the bow, causing damage but no serious injuries. The Philippines condemned the act as dangerous and illegal, accusing China of harassment. China countered, blaming the Philippines for intruding and ignoring warnings. This was not an isolated incident. Confrontations have been increasing. The October collision marked a significant escalation, highlighting the risk of a larger conflict. The world took notice. The collision sent shockwaves to Washington. The US and the Philippines have a mutual defense treaty, promising support in case of attack. The White House condemned China's actions and quickly deployed 2 warships to the area. The USS John Finn and USS Gabriel Giffords began patrolling near Scarborough Shoal. Their mission: uphold freedom of navigation and support the Philippines. This show of force was meant to deter further aggression. The ship's advanced capabilities send a clear message of American resolve. Their presence complicates China's calculations and reassures U.S. allies. The U.S. strategy in the Indo-Pacific relies on alliances and credible military power. By deploying warships, America backs up its words with action. The South China Sea may be far from U.S. shores, but its stability is a core American interest. The world is watching. The recent arrival of U.S. warships in the region has significantly shifted the delicate balance of power between the U.S., China, and the Philippines, drawing global attention to these contested waters. For Manila, this show of force is a welcome demonstration of support, further strengthening its long-standing alliance with Washington and reassuring the Filipino public of U.S. commitment. The U.S. response emboldens the Philippines, giving its leaders and military greater confidence to assert their rights and protect their maritime claims in the face of growing pressure. China, however, views the deployment as a direct provocation and a serious challenge to its sovereignty, warning that such actions could escalate tensions further. Chinese state media has been quick to accuse the U.S. of stoking confrontation and interfering in what it considers its own backyard. Both sides now openly accuse each other of destabilizing the region, trading sharp words and warnings in international forums and the media. The South China Sea has become yet another flashpoint in the already tense U.S.-China relationship, with vital shipping lanes and strategic interests at stake. With powerful militaries operating in such close quarters, the risk of miscalculation or accidental conflict is alarmingly high, raising concerns among neighboring countries. The U.S. claims it is upholding international rules and freedom of navigation, while China sees these moves as attempts at containment and interference. The Philippines finds itself caught in the middle, balancing its security needs and alliance with the U.S. against deep economic ties and trade with China. Every move by one country prompts a swift reaction from the others, creating a cycle of escalation and counter-escalation that is difficult to break. The strengthened U.S.-Philippines alliance is a growing concern for Beijing, which fears encirclement and the loss of influence in its own region. This triangular dynamic between the U.S., China, and the Philippines is inherently unstable and unpredictable, with each side wary of the other's next move. The Philippines must now defend its territory and sovereignty, all while trying to avoid being drawn into a dangerous great power conflict that could have far-reaching consequences. The stakes have never been higher, and the world is watching closely as tensions continue to mount in the South China Sea. The standoff at Scarborough Shoal is a high-wire act. With U.S., Chinese, and Philippine ships in close quarters, the risk of accidental escalation is real. Even a minor incident could spiral out of control. China may respond with more warships, military exercises, or economic pressure. The U.S. faces tough choices: escalate or risk appearing weak. The Mutual Defense Treaty is under scrutiny. What exactly would trigger U.S. intervention? China could test these boundaries with actions just below the threshold of war. This forces Manila and Washington to constantly reassess their red lines. The standoff could spark a regional arms race and force countries to choose sides. The dream of a peaceful Asia-Pacific is at risk. The future of regional stability is being decided right now. The world holds its breath. The deployment of U.S. warships to Scarborough Shoal marks a turning point in the South China Sea saga. It's a direct response to a dangerous collision, highlighting rising tensions. The shoal is now the center of a dispute over territory, resources, and international law. The U.S. move signals strong support for the Philippines and a commitment to freedom of navigation. For China, it's an unwelcome intervention, deepening mistrust with Washington. Powerful navies in close proximity raise the risk of accidental conflict. The stakes are high. Will diplomacy prevail, or will tensions escalate? The actions of the U.S., China, and the Philippines in the coming weeks will shape the region's future. The world is watching as a local dispute becomes a global test of wills. The hope is for dialogue, not confrontation. Thank you for joining us.